Hey guys, I got Anthony McCarthy here. Anthony's over on the other side of the pond in the Irish pond over there. So he was giving me a lesson today on the history of the Irishman, which I thought actually pretty fun because I'm actually half Irish. I don't know if I mentioned that or not.
Oh, you never mentioned.
Yeah, it's the half that likes to drink. But Anthony's he's interesting about Anthony. He's never sat for a job interview. He's been unemployable his whole life. Father of five. And done over 3 decades in online business as well as internet marketing, as marketing just in general. And I know he's been doing a lot on the mobile side of things. And Anthony, I appreciate you taking some time out today to talk to us about what you've got going on. And I'm looking forward to learning what's the big lucky charms behind you on the box, though. That's everybody's going to ask me that.
That was my first introduction into mobile. Because Matt Basak and myself, Matt came over with some of his family, went to Blarney Castle, and we landed sitting in my kitchen having dinner, which would be a kind of Irish tradition. Matt was quite surprised that he got 4 different types of potatoes. He thought, he still laughs about that. And we started having a few drinks, and this whole concept of the game came out of a joke of actually kicking a leprechaun in the backside, right? And it gave you grief. So what we actually did is we built a game called Leaping Leprechaun, which got into the top 40 in the charts in the States. And then I started messing around with some product placement. So that was something that we made just to send to the boys in Lucky Charms. So that's where that came from. So okay. That's actually screenshots of the game. So.
Oh, that's the screenshots from the game you guys are making.
Yeah, we had that. No, was actually... It was 4 years ago on Paddy's Day we launched.
Paddy's Day. Now give us the background on Paddy's Day as you were just filling me in. Here, Americans, it's an excuse to go drink beer. But you're sharing with me some pretty interesting facts behind St. Paddy's Day and what it's all about. Could you kind of shed some light on that from the Irish perspective?
Well, I suppose it's more of a holiday for people, the diaspora. It's more of a holiday for people that left Ireland than it was a holiday in Ireland. It wasn't a holiday that was celebrated in Ireland until it started getting celebrated in the States. I think, and I can be open to correction, that the first one was in Boston. But it is interesting we were talking about the name. So like it's only in America it's called Paddy's Day. I won't go into the history too much on that, but the term paddy was actually years ago would have been a derogatory term, the same as certain words that could be used for other people. And we just decided we make a joke of it. Now everybody calls us paddies. We embraced it. Matter of fact, there's a guy here in Ireland that does paddy wagon tours. So you know what a paddy wagon is, right? So yeah. Paddy wagon is where the police put you. So he's actually got paddy wagon tours. So we have a tendency to laugh at ourselves, which is served us well throughout the years. So the history of Paddy's Day is an interesting, and also the other fact that St. Patrick was actually Welsh.
Interesting.
Yeah, he came in, he brought religion into Ireland. So the actual tradition is he brought Christianity into Ireland and banished the snakes. He couldn't get rid of the English, but he banished the snakes. That's the old joke here. We got rid of it, so there's no snakes in Ireland.
There's no snakes in Ireland?
There's no snakes in Ireland.
Interesting.
Yeah, except in the banks. No, but we won't go there.
Except in the banks. Oh, man. So you guys haven't figured out. Anthony's pretty funny. It's still early in the morning for us Americans over here. You know, if you haven't had your cup of coffee yet. I'm
speaking at 1/3 normal speed, okay?
Yeah, 1/3. This is 1/3 normal speed for him. Now Ireland's got a deal where it's like you're 2 weeks behind the lagging time. What do you call that?
Daylight saving time. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like the time. It's like weird time change in the world right now. I thought that was actually.
There's 2 weeks when we lose an hour.
You guys lose an hour. You guys run around 23 hours a day for 2 weeks.
It gives us an extra hour for the pub.
It's an extra hour for the pub. For the pub time, huh?
Yeah. That's the hour we tell the wife. Where were you? I wasn't anywhere.
It was 1 hour. It just disappeared. It just happened to be at the pub.
Talk to this daylight saving time has nothing to do with me.
when did you get started, like on the entrepreneur side of things? I mean, you said you started your businesses at age 16, but as an entrepreneur, when was the first business you launched? What was the first memory you had around that?
First one was, so I went in and joined. I lived in Germany for a bit. Didn't enjoy it too much, so came home and I joined my father's business. Right. And
how old were you when you went to Germany?
Which?
How old were you when you went to Germany?
16 and a half. I finished school at 16 and a half. I finished my final exams in school at 16 and a half and went to Germany when I was just before my 17th birthday. I was there for a number of months. I was supposed to be there for 5 years. So wasn't over lovely people, but just wasn't for me. You know, as an Irish person, I wasn't used to being told, you know, it's 4:31, you're late. What time are you supposed to be here? 4:30. It's 4:31. I'm not late. I'm actually early under Irish terms. Anywhere within the, you know, we'd have a term in Ireland. What time we'd be home? Around 1:30. And that could be 1:30, whatever. So the whole timelines wasn't great. But when I joined the father's business, he became an agent for a tile company, ceramic tiles, and walked in and handed me the brochure and said, go sell those, in typical father fashion. So I went off and did some sales courses, and then we set up 5 distributors around Ireland for the tiles. And when I would just be going around selling to these guys, I noticed that they were taking more money in an hour than I was making out of the whole trip. So I kept pushing my father, I want to open a tile shop, And then circumstances happened and we actually opened that business. And we grew that business. We had in 10,000 square foot showroom. We grew that business from a loss. When we opened it, we had no money. I mean, no money. And we grew it from a loss of 50,000 up to, I think the biggest turnover we had was $3.8 million in a year. So it was a great business. But then the challenge was it was a family business. I wanted to move fast. My father wanted to move slowly. And we decided that the best thing to do was to close it. So I then went off into the kitchen business, made a lot of money and lost a hell of a lot more. You know, I'm the only one who was in business with a PLC that got sold. Another one of the companies I was dealing with, which would have been the size of the manufacturing plant, would be about 3 times the size of a standard Walmart. I was there. 3
times the size of Walmart?
Yeah, the factory size. They did 250 kitchens a day. They manufactured 250 kitchens a day. Okay.
How are they 3 times the size of Walmart though? I mean, that's
as in a Walmart store.
Wow.
As in an actual store. So the factory was 3 times the size of a standard Walmart store.
Okay, that's a
Walmart company. No.
Is that like just a Walmart or a super Walmart? You know, I mean, Walmart's huge, and so you have that many people going in there and getting kitchens and bathrooms. That's how big.
So their factory, their manufacturing plant.
Manufacturing. Okay.
Okay, it was 3 times the size of a standard Walmart store, right? And I was there on a Wednesday. I get a phone call on a Thursday morning. It had burned to the ground.
Oh, wow.
And I was out of business. So I had 3 huge disasters, one after the other. That was the second one. And the third one then is I got a contract, which I was telling you, the biggest single sale I ever made was about 6.2 million euros. So it'd be about $6.8 million today, one sale. And we went to start there and doing this big contract. And of course, a little thing called the property crash happened. And I was about $1.5 million into it. And it actually put my lights off. And it was in that period of time, actually waiting for that to start, that I went to Dublin to an event and met Matt Basak. Went to Matt and did his program and got really interested in online marketing because I didn't see that online marketing was that different to the 3 generations that I've been doing or the 3 decades, because my first actual marketing course that I did was a guy called Murray Rafel when I was 18 years of age. And Murray owned a store in Boston, and he was the first one who talked about proper direct mail campaigns. Mm-hmm. And it was headline, image, what you're going to give, call to action, and who you are. Sound familiar? Yeah. Right? So that's how it actually goes back as far as, I think, one of the first very early successful ones was actually Forbes magazine. Was it Forbes magazine? No, it was the newspaper. One of the financial newspapers in the States. I have it there.
In the United States?
Yeah. It was, hang on, I can tell you, I can't show you because I have to close the exit screen. It was, I have it actually, I'll send it to you because I actually copied this off of the net a couple of weeks back because I thought about it. I should remember. I think it was Forbes magazine.
Forbes magazine, yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah, it was actually it was the story of two kids who finished school at the same time. And they both finished college. They both did this, that, and the sales letter is absolutely stunning because it goes through the story of these two guys, and you're with them, and they both have kids and the rest of it, and they go back to the school reunion, and the difference is one guy is the president of the company, and the other guy is the junior manager. And the whole sales pitch then is about the fact that the difference is information and knowledge. And that's what the whole newspaper is about. So it was absolutely stunning piece. But Murray was brilliant. And then when I saw Matt, it was pretty much the same thing. I always say the two times I got excited about computers in my life, right, was when we had the tile business. We built the whole internal network because we used to run packing slips and the rest of it. But I remember walking in and seeing Microsoft Windows for the first time, because you got to remember, back then we would have been 4 to 5 years behind the States when it came to technology, right? So Word and Excel and Windows would have all been over there, and it was like manna from heaven for us. And I used to use Lotus 123 in DOS to do my spreadsheets. So it was this dot. So you'd have this big huge spreadsheet, and then you hit go, and it went meh. And you had to go back for about an hour to try and find your mistakes. And I remember walking into a place and seeing Excel. I walked in, I was late for the demonstration. The guy did Excel, AutoSum, and I bought 4 computers. I walked up and said to the guy, I want a Monday, 4 computers done. I want all that on it, done. And the other time that I got that excited was when I was sitting with Matt and I saw an autoresponder for the first time. And I went, ooh, I can send an email to as many people as I can get on my list. I like that. You know, and because I've always liked automation. I've always liked, even what we were talking about earlier, I like automation processes where you can actually get to many people very, very quickly with a minimum amount of effort. And that's what computers are supposed to do. That's what automation in reality is supposed to do to us. And especially in your marketing funnels, it's just fascinating the amount of times that people don't build in as much automation to even, you know, one of the latest ones, I think Jeremy, that's in the Profit Collision. I didn't get to.
Jeremy Kennedy.
Like this Jeremy Kennedy, this whole chatbot stuff he's doing is revolutionary. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
You know, I know what's happening with Facebook, and even with another guy in the UK, like Facebook have actually launched work groups for people, so you can now have your own private Facebook for your company, right? And I know that Facebook are looking at taking chat, and that you can embed that onto your site, and that's where they want to go to, because what Facebook want to do is keep people on Facebook as long as
possible. Want to keep people on Facebook, of course, just the same way Google wants people on Google. So Anthony, you went in and started sharing about you had a business there, huge business, and it just burnt to the ground. How much did you actually lose in that transaction?
In that one, I didn't do too bad. I lost about 400 grand.
Okay.
Wasn't bad.
So you just 400 grand. So did you get insurance that helped pay for the business or anything? That was just like 400 grand you were out, and you had to start it all over again. Did you start that business all over again? Did you start a new business?
I restructured that business. I read all of the books there. I should never have gone into the kitchen business, to be perfectly blunt, right? Since you're in that space.
What did you learn from the kitchen business that you did, besides, not to do that again?
I learned don't go into a business that you don't care about. And the reason I went into when we were in the tile business, we had kitchens and bathrooms. I liked the design side of the kitchens. I didn't like the argumentative side. The challenge was with a person, we're the last person in. So if they're building a new house, by the time you get there, they're at the end of the rope, okay? And when you're dealing with a building contractor, you're constantly fighting. And I have no problem having a rope. I just don't want to constantly fight. It's not who I am, because I always side with the customer, okay? So the challenge was that I went into it for this very, very strong reason. I didn't know what else to do. I had a ball of money, and I didn't know what else, so I opened the kitchen business. It wasn't the right reason to open the business. So when I went into it, I did restructure. I've done projects in San Francisco. I've done projects in Los Angeles, which were fascinating. I nearly had a franchise set up in it. The guys, the guys that we were setting the franchise up with landed up in jail for running a Ponzi scheme. So it was just, you know, the universe was giving me a very large hint here.
Yeah, you're getting like a baseball bat over the face, like.
Yeah, but to see
like this.
I read all of the do it books. So like, you know, don't give up. Yeah, no, don't give up. But go a different bloody direction, Mike. You know, like if you keep banging your head against the wall, yes, at some point in time the wall will fall down, but your head will probably fall off first.
Your head's probably gonna fall off first.
Yeah, right. And that was the bit they don't tell you. Like, I have a lot of issues with a lot of the positivity books, right? I think positivity is great. I think, you know, what you're doing, getting rid of mental blocks, is fantastic. But like, there's a point in time where you just have to go, enough.
Enough's enough.
Enough. And I didn't look, because, you know, I was always able to sell, right? I was always able to market. I was always like, I built the distribution business with the factory that burned down. I built that to 1.7 million in 6 months.
How many walls did you try to knock down before you figured that out?
4.
Just 4?
Yeah, but that 4 would have been 2 million. And it was like, what? And the crazy thing is, because of a sense of honor, which you'd understand where you come from,
yeah,
right? When the contract stalled, right? The 6 million contract stalled. Now, we had a fixed price delivered on the island from the manufacturers of 3.2 million. I had 3 million left, and I could have done this contract in 9 months. And we were then, when the boom was on, we were supposed to have another 66 million worth of contracts. But when everything paused, I went online and I started doing very nicely online. But then I stopped it, right? No, I kept involved. I worked at the back of some of Matt's launches. I kept in touch with Matt. I worked for free with guys because I wanted to learn, right? Which is my recommendation to a lot of people starting. Everybody thinks this comes easy. The internet is a very easy place to make money, but it is a business. And if people don't have business knowledge and skills, they don't seem to want to learn that bit, which is interesting for me. But so I kept in touch. But what I did then is went back and did the contract, which I shouldn't have done, because I stopped the business that I was like. We had gone to live in Spain for 6 weeks. My son, at that point, he's 24 now. He was 18. He just finished school. So myself, my wife, and my 5 kids, we moved to Spain for 6 weeks, and I lived in Spain while working every hour, an hour, 2 hours in the morning on the computer. I paid for it while we were there, right? We moved. Now, when you can, that for me was a big holy grail moment in my life, right? Because any holiday I would have gone on, I was on the phone constantly back to work. I was gone at 7:30 in the morning. I was back at 8:30 at night, 6 days a week. Come Sunday, I didn't want to talk, had no energy. My office is now built in my backyard, right? I know work, you know, if I want to go in and spend some time with my family, I can do it. I have the flexibility. And it was actually buying the time for me was the big thing, because I never had it. We had loads of money. We had big cars, you know. I have a good house for Ireland. Like, my house would be 1,400 square feet, which is a shoebox in America, but it's probably costs 3 times more than yours does. That's
true.
You know, and this is the problem. And by rearing 5 kids here is an expensive pastime. But I'm able to do all of that from my backyard.
It's a lot of potatoes.
Yeah, especially when you like this. So one of them plays rugby, which is the real version of American football, and the other one, 2 play rugby and 1 plays hurling and football, which is if you've never seen them, look them up. Anybody, if you haven't watched hurling, Hurling, it's worth a YouTube watch. It's the second fastest game in the world.
What's the one with the paddle? What's the one they have with the paddle?
That's it. That's hurling. Yeah.
That's a crazy sport.
It actually isn't. When you get into it, it's very interesting. From a guy who comes from a combat point of view, it's how we used to train our warriors, right? And the point is the closer you are to your opponent, the safer you are.
Yeah. Because
if you stand back a couple of feet, you get a hit with the hurl, right? But if you're in close, I can't hit you with the stick.
Yeah.
Right? So it's actually a lot about proximity, but it's good fun.
It's like guys walk around with baseball bats hitting each other.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I played soft. First I went to the States. When I came back from Germany. My sister got moved to a town called Rolla, which was outside of St. Louis, right? So Animal House was the big movie at the time. Wasn't as advertised, let's put it that way. So I went over for a couple of weeks, but they brought us to play softball. And they couldn't understand how I was hitting a home run every time. You were throwing a ball this big, this slow. Watch hurling for 5 minutes, because we all play hurling. You'll understand. You know. So if this is my advice to the American baseball guys, come over and get some of the kids that play hurling, bring them to America. They'll crush it. Absolutely crush it.
They're instead of going to the Dominican Republic, they just come over and get some of the Irish kids. I'm
telling you, you get a couple of Irish kids on scholarships to colleges over there playing baseball.
They're not afraid of getting hit by the ball either.
You can have the ball move from one end of the pitch to the other. So they've got catching skills, they've got hand-eye coordination, and they know how to hit a moving ball. You know, it's just it's one of these things that fascinates me, because if I was sitting in an American league, I'd be kind of looking, where's the closest? Because I'm very big on modeling, right? Like where I go now and the rest of it, I kind of look at what works and how I can bring that into my business, because that just makes sense. Like, these guys have got huge money, huge investments. They've done all this stuff. If I can take parts of that into my business, and it's very clever. So yeah. It's got nothing to do with marketing, but anyway.
Nothing to do with marketing, guys. All about hurling. So with getting back to the marketing question, is like you sat there, you got these businesses, they went up in flames, and you hit your head against the wall, knocked off $2 million. You had kind of like learned the hard way that, hey, wasn't something you wanted to do anymore. That's a lot of money to spend at doing something like that. How did you actually figure out, like, hey, this is what I'm brought here to do. This is my true vocation. This is what I'm supposed to be doing.
It was really meeting Matt and going over and spending, like, I went and lived with Matt in his basement, which sounds horrific, but his basement was twice the size of my house at the time.
So, I've been in that basement. That was a pretty nice basement.
Yeah, and I had a bar, so I had an automatic attraction.
Had a nice bar down there too. Yeah, like a movie theater down there. Yeah, don't make it sound like it sounds bad. So
no, it wasn't bad in the slightest. As a matter of fact, he's the bedroom I was sleeping in, and the ensuite, or the bathroom off it, was probably the ground floor of my house. So it was okay. And so it was when I started seeing it, because I love marketing. I like computers, right? I'm not a geek. I like tech, but I don't really need to know how well it works. I've always liked technology. So it seemed like an ideal marriage. The biggest challenge was the confidence to start with. And I think that Daryl is the problem with everybody, because who am I? Like, the question is, who am I to go out and to do this? Who am I? And what actually happened was, I went off and I started making money, and I started working very quickly. And I because like, RTFM, like, you know what RTFM means, yeah? Read the manual. Right, so I followed the steps I was given. Right, my attitude is, if Matt's making all this money and he tells me to bark, it's bark, and don't ask questions. Right, and that's what I did. I put my ego to one side and just follow the systems. And then once you learn it, you can now twist it and turn it into your own and bring it off in different directions, which is what we all do. But if you don't get to the end of the race, you can't talk about the strategy for the next race. Most people don't even put on the running shoes, and they're talking about the strategy for the next race.
Yeah.
You know, and I did a number. It wasn't just Matt's program. I did a number of programs, and I learned very, very quickly doing a number of programs. I spent about 15 grand at the first event. And I've spent a lot of money since doing different programs. And a lot of times I'll do programs to know exactly what I don't want to do, and I'm okay with that. So I did eBay once. I don't want to be selling eBay. For me, it's hell. I don't want to know about it. Right? So the big thing then, what happened was, so how I landed up at the event is a friend of mine organized it, and the friend of mine then rings. He's doing another event. He says, "By the way, you're speaking." I was like, "What? You're speaking the next? We need an Irish person in the online space. So you're elected." I said, "No, you're doing it." So I rang Matt and I said, he wants me to speak. What do you think? Matt says, yeah, you're whatever, no problem. But nothing to sell. So Matt says, no problem. We recoach what I'm doing, and you can do that. You know it as well as I do now. But the deal is, you have to sell at the price I sold. I said, Matt, that's $3,000. What?
Yeah, right? A little Venom block going on there. Like, who am I to sell something for $3,000?
Yeah, right. So, but at the time, you got to remember, I'm now sitting here, and at that point in time, I'm making money on the internet, but I'm still doing some kitchen work because I'm still an idiot.
You're still like getting punched in the face.
Yeah, but it's the interesting thing. You tend to go back to what you know and what's safe, even if you know it's wrong. And that to me was the big aha moment. Was you keep running into the wall. You know it hurts, but then you're kind of inclined. You're walking past it. There's the wall. I'm going to no.
Ah, hit it again.
And you find yourself running. So I was talking to a woman at the time about selling her a kitchen for $2,500, really low-end kitchen, and I was going to make £500. So I went and I spoke at the event, and to be fair, Matt, I owe huge homage to Matt to start when I started, and I still great respect and time for the man. We're still very good friends, and I don't use the word friend lightly. And like I went off and went up and sold, and there was only 45 people turned up because in Ireland it snowed. No, it's not like in America where you're used to it. In Ireland, when it snows, we all sit down and go, snow. It's lovely. We'll all stay at home today. We don't have snow tires. We don't get snow. So 40 people turned up, and I sold 15 people at $3,000. It was like, no, you lost the host fees and all the rest. But it was like, oh yeah, I like this.
Yeah, I can do this.
Yeah, and then I thought,
no more. How many kitchens did you do after that?
None. It was done until the contract came back up, and then because of honor bound, and the joke was I was honor bound to deal with the guys, and then the guys turned out to be completely dishonorable.
They turned out to be dishonest, as you said?
Yeah, dishonorable. The guys I was dealing with, who I knew for 15 years, turned out, no, I don't believe that they will see it that way, but that's the way that I see it. So like that was it. I was hooked. I was done. And the other really interesting thing is I kind of found my calling, right? And my true calling is actually really like teaching people, which I was very surprised at. And being in front of a room, talking to people and seeing, I call it you like this from the Marines, I call it the submersion technique. We bring you to the pool, we bring you to the deep end, we hold you by the ankles underwater until you start crying, and then we let you up from there, and then we bring you back down again.
Yeah,
and when you start
seeing waterboarding, so
yeah, slightly different. We don't I don't waterboard my clients. Okay, but what we do is bring them, and then you start seeing the light bulbs go on, and then I really get a lot of pleasure out of it's like one of my clients, that business clients I've been working with. I gave him one thing to do, and he went off and did it on Facebook, and he turned a $60,000 ad into $3,500 worth of revenue, coaching clients. And it was just doing and it is, to me, it's always about doing the simple stuff. You have to understand the global picture, but really it's about doing simple, easy stuff. And when I hear people talk about the net, no, I don't understand it, and it's this and that, it is no design that a 2-year-old can use it, because 2-year-olds are using it. So the only thing that's in your way is fear, as you well know. It's the blocks that you're putting in. So yeah, it beats working.
Bam, just like that.
It was like I can't say what I actually said, right? Because being Irish, we would have some colourful language, especially me. It was like I rang my wife, said, "You're not going to believe this," and my wife said, "What? Huh?" No, to be fair, my wife did say she taught me so, because she was the one that's been telling me for years that I should be in that world and in computers and in that world. She's been telling me. She saw it for years, way before I did.
And why didn't you listen to your wife?
Because I'm an Irish man. Come on.
He's stubborn.
Fear. All nonsense aside, fear.
Fear.
Yeah, I won't.
What gave you permission to do it? What gave you permission? Who gave you permission you can go out and do it?
Myself, ultimately.
Yeah.
Which is the only person that counts in the end of this stuff.
You finally got out there and did it, and it was really your buddy kind of forced your hand.
Yeah, my buddy and Matt, to be fair, the two of them, both Pat and Matt.
Yeah.
To which I would be, no, I will say, to be fair, that of the 75 people that did Matt's program, there's only 2 of us did anything with it. One is Paul O'Mahony, who was speaking around the world and doing phenomenal. Well, he went a completely different route. He's traveling. He loves to travel. Hell to me. You know, I'm going to have to do something this year, but it looks good. But it is interesting. That we were the ones that actually took action, learned, and did so, because it's not just about taking the action. You have to learn a bit. You do have to be accountable. But in the end of the day, the permission side of it was very interesting. And to be perfectly honest, there's still barriers that I come up with, because you do come up with mental barriers. You do come up with mental blocks constantly. And I'm very aware, because when I was 13, I went to a Christian brother school. And don't worry, I'm not going to tell you it was sexually abused, it's all right. But like, there were guys being sexually abused in our school. But I was physically abused, right? I was hit 228 times with a duster, you know, the eraser on the board in the back of the knuckles. And my habit would be to turn back into that kid very, very quickly. And I had to do a lot of work over the years before ever we met on that, and get it and actually get that psychology taken out, that, you know, you don't run out of it, because you do run back to these places, because even though you don't think they're comfortable, they are. And they're very comfortable if you run back to that point. So I spent, like, I couldn't eat breakfast till I was 26 from it. The guy left and all the rest of it. And the other side was, I met some of the nicest people ever as Christian brothers. And all I want to, because they get painted in a very bad colouring all the time, and it's not fair. I don't think it's right, because you know as well as I do, Daryl, especially where you've been in the world, you know, it's never black and white. There's always shades of grey in the middle, you know. So it was, and like, compared to what other people suffered, I didn't suffer that much compared to what other guys have gone through. It was, but you do kind of get, I think
it's a traumatizing. I mean, it's when people get, it's like you look at an elephant, you know, you look at an elephant who's at a circus, which honestly, an interesting fact is the Barnley, I never say this right, Barnley Bailey Circus, I don't know if I pronounced that right, is actually closing. And they had all these animal activist rights or whatever it was. But I remember going up and seeing that as a kid. And you look at these elephants, and they're just chained to this one little chain to this little block on the ground. You're wondering, why does that elephant not just walk away from whatever it is, right? Well, the thing is, ever since that elephant was born, it had a chain on its ankle that hold him to that block. Now, when the elephant was little, he couldn't actually move that block. But, you know, as he's grown over the time, he could very easily just walk away with that thing and probably tear the whole tent down if he wanted to. But the psychology behind it is it's that they have that in the back. Oh, that's that block. I can't move it. And even though now they're well aware of they can move whatever they want, they've just been conditioned. And as people get conditioned. They get conditioned about how they make their money, you know, about where the money actually comes from. And just like you, I mean, you've never worked for somebody. You've always worked for yourself. You know, you learn that from growing up from your parents. And even over time, after losing over $2 million to a work, let's just call it a work experience, right? And it took
expensive college,
right? You finally figured out what your true calling is to go out and be a teacher, you know, and you're just teaching on a non-traditional college.
Yeah.
You know, and helping people go out there and learn how to market themselves, learn how to market their businesses. And I know you've got the app stuff you've been doing, the mobile marketing side of things, helping people with that. So Anthony, what are some tidbits, some golden nuggets along the way that you've learned that you would share with somebody? It's like, man, this is something where I really wish I would have known. Possibly it was at the lowest point you're at in your career, in your business. If you had to go back to that point at this time and ask yourself, like, what information and what would I say to my former self on that side of it? And where were you at?
Well, I suppose I'll bring you back to the time when that the PLC got sold, because that was an interesting day. When I found that had actually happened, I had been very, very profitable, very successful, had left my father, had developed an ego the size of a house, right? Like, I knew everything, I was right. Like, when I say I was making a lot of money, I was pulling $7-8 grand a month, and still after 6 months, we made $200 grand profit, right? So like so bought the big Jeep, did all the stuff, all the stupid stuff, and then find out that the company is gone. But the day I found out that, the day I actually decided I had to close the company, I went from when they closed, I went from one bad supplier to another bad supplier to another bad supplier in fear and panic. And on that day that I decided I was closing, my wife rang. She said she wanted to meet me, and I met my wife. And I told my wife we were closing the business, and she told me she was pregnant with our fourth. It was a very interesting day for me. It's probably it should have been the watershed at that stage, but it wasn't. And the reason I stayed in then, to be perfectly candid, was the fact that I was locked in a long lease with the landlord, and I didn't have the courage to fight him. And sometimes, if I had to go back to myself, I would say, have the courage to stop. And that's a very, very hard thing to do when you're looking for money on a Friday to feed your family, when you've put it, because as entrepreneurs, we go all in, right? It's one of the things that annoys me here with banks when they chase after businesses and individuals. Most people, especially the kind of small and medium enterprises, not the big corporations, but they never seem to get done anyway. But the small and medium guys, they're all in. Like, it's everything. Like I paid my staff. I had I was using my own money at that point in time. And I think it would be, and this is the advice that I do give people when they come to me, because I do help a lot of people who get to that position, or people that are in difficulty with banks here, and that because I've been through it. You know, I've had a guy trying to repossess the car outside the door. I've had the sheriff to the house over this. You know, it was a really, really bad time. And what I would say is, go to the top of the hill. You like this analogy with the soldier background. I say most people as an SME, right, a small, medium enterprise business owner, what we do is we're down in the trenches digging with the soldiers. And we never go to the top of the hill to look at the landscape, right? And if I'd gone to the top, if I'd had the courage to go to the top of the hill at that point in time and look at what I wanted, I would realize I was utterly miserable. And the more money wasn't making it any good, it was utterly miserable. So it's a case that would be the first one, is to have the courage to actually stop. And that's a very difficult thing, because, and I do understand that people have mortgages, car loans, all of this type of stuff to keep paying, but doesn't mean what you're doing. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not one of these guys that say, you know, find what you're passionate about and go into business with it. Because sometimes being passionate about it just isn't enough. There just might not be a business there, okay? But for God's sake, at least like it and enjoy it, because you're spending 8 to 10 hours a day anyway. You know, in anything that we do, we're spending, like, it's what we do. I work because I love it. I enjoy it. People say, oh, you're workaholic. No, this is my hobby. This is my pastime. This is what I do, right? So to find something that you have a strong emotion about, but not necessarily your hobby. You know, if you love golf, for example, you may not necessarily be able to turn up to be a golf coach, okay? You just may not be able to. Doesn't mean you couldn't write reviews and go around and do reviews of golf clubs, but you could do different stuff.
So what would you have said to yourself at that point, where you're down in that trench at the place where you had the sheriff at your door and these different things, where it was like you needed to get that
Stop digging.
Just adjustment side? Well, what would actually broke through? If I just showed up to your house and said, stop digging, would you actually have listened?
No.
So what could you have said to break through to yourself, to get you to stop banging your head against the wall? Because there's other people out there right now are possibly banging their heads against the wall. What's the message you would have gave yourself that you would have actually broke through to yourself?
So what I now do, I suppose, is what I would have told myself to do. I want you to take 2 days out. So when things go really, really bad, because they do in every business, right? When things go wrong, when things go, and really, really bad is a measure of where you are, okay? You know, if you're making $1 million and it drops to 500,000, that's really, really bad, right? If you've got no food, that's a really, really bad in a different level, right? So it goes on different scales. It's to take 2 days out, get out, stop, get out of the office, get out of the business, go somewhere, hotel, somewhere, anywhere, family home, somewhere, out of your current environment, with a pad of paper and a pen, and sit down and figure out what you actually want. What is it you want out of life? Not just what you want for the business or anything else. What is what you want out of life? Because ironically enough, I had done a program many, many years ago. It's how I met Pat, with him. And I'd written out goals. And when I started on the internet, I found them. And one of the things I wanted to do was actually spend more time with kids. Because I have 5 kids because I like kids, right? Okay? And not because we're just stupid, but we actually like kids, right? And with my older 2, I didn't get to see them grow up as much, right? As my last 3 now. Because now my kids will come home from school today. I walk in, how are you? I'm there, I'm around. And kids want quantity time, not quality. I don't believe, and these are my personal beliefs, I don't want to think, but kids and circumstances change and all the rest of it. But for me, that's what I wanted. So do I want the Mercedes or do I want the time? Well, actually I want both, right? Let's be honest, okay? But in a scale of in order of priorities, it was that, right? Because I've done the year where I bought 11 cars and we did 7 holidays and done all of that, right? And it doesn't, in the end of the day, bring you any lasting joy or happiness. That's the interesting thing. So maybe on money blocks, I've got some issues that money doesn't overly matter to me, but it does because it affords me the lifestyle that I want, right? Do I want to be a billionaire? No. Good for me, no. I don't want to. I know the sacrifices that would take. Do I want to be a multimillionaire? Yes. But that's for me. That's not for my family. That's for me. That's a personal goal. So it would be to sit down and just list out what is it you actually, and you've got to take 2 days to do it, because you've got to take, the first day is really getting over yourself and getting over the why the fuck does this keep happening to me? Why me? Why am I cursed? Why me? No, there's a couple of life lessons that I've had that are not life lessons I'd like anybody else to have. But I lost my sister to cancer when she was 30. I was 25 when she died. And my father has a very good expression, is people in the graveyard would love the problems that you have. So I was able to tap into that a bit, right? And I'm certainly able to tap into that a lot. And I lost the nephew 2 years ago to brain tumor when he was 24, right? You know, my sister, they're in the top wealthiest list constantly, you know, they're great, but he was a lovely, amazing kid, you know. And it is fascinating, these type of lessons that bring it in, you know. So for me, it would be, what's the focus, what's important, what is actually important. And when it comes down to it, money's a tool. It's a tool, it's a mechanism of getting where you want. It's not the be all and end all, it's a mechanism, a tool to get where you want to get to. Mm-hmm. So I would be off out for 2 days, and I can't believe you're getting this over. You are good, you know that. He warned me this, but yeah, I would be get out for a couple of days. Step off the wheel. Step off the wheel, the hamster wheel. Get out from under. Go away. Go somewhere that's completely alien to you, so that you have to think. If you want to go with your better half, then fine, do that. But get some time to yourself where you can sit down, where you can, because if you're on your own, you won't listen to your, I'm going to curse, bullshit as much as people that love you will. You just won't, right? There's a point in time where you just say, shut up, right? Why does this keep happening to me? Why does this stop? Okay, what do we do? For me anyway. So for me, it's get out, go to the top of the hill, wherever the hill be. That'll be the advice. That's a very long answer to a very short question. Sorry about that.
Get to the top of your hill. And I think you left some gold nuggets in there with especially what your dad said to you. You know, the people in the graveyard wish they had your problems. And there's so many people out there that have died, whether it's for their country, whether it's the diseases, who just had dreams and things that they wanted to go out to share, who never got an opportunity to share that. And if you're listening to this right now, you got a chance. That's a good thing.
Well, if you ring my father and you say, how are you? He says, I'm above ground.
Yeah.
And that it's a very interesting mentality. And I have a lot of respect for my father. Even though years ago we never actually fell out, but you know, I would have a lot of respect for my father and what he's done. But like, it is a great attitude, because you're right, as long as we're here, we were shot. And it is interesting, you know, the kind of zero-based thinking. If you were given 3 weeks left to live, what would your worries be? Yes, financial for your family would be part of that, but it wouldn't be the main one. Like, you know, what are you going to do? You're going to go run into the office for the next 3 weeks? So there is a balance. Like you see that with us. I got to go off kayaking on a Tuesday. One of the things I love what I do is go off kayaking on a Tuesday, and I've got freedom to go and enjoy life. And that to me was I suppose my kind of light bulb was, you know, I'm doing all of this for what? For stuff. Okay, so if I don't have the stuff, but I have the life, how bad is it? You know what? The stuff's just turning up anyway. You know, I've cleared most of the crap that happened with the businesses, and we're now getting out. And you know, and I get to go over to the States and meet guys like yourself and hang out, and you know, it's a fascinating world, and that's it. Go out and experience. Like the world is so small these days. I'm saying that to the kids: go out and experience it, enjoy it. Yeah, you're right. If you're above ground, you have a shot. If you're not, there's not a lot you can do about it, and there's a lot of very good people who. You
won't be listening to this if that were the case.
Yes, and if you are, please let us know. That's like a marketing idea.
We got marketing ideas for it. So, anyway, what's the best way to somebody reach out to you and what you're doing right now in business?
The easiest thing is just connect with me on Facebook. I'm Anthony McCarthy on Facebook. We're building a few new sites, or just shoot me an email to irishmarketer@gmail.com. You can go to my blog and the rest of it, but I'm a typical shoemaker's son. You know, I create sales pages and funnels, and I never really over worry. Your site's way nicer than mine, like.
Yeah, I was a shoemaker son for about 2 years until one of my clients, thanks to Nikki, by the way, she went and actually helped me do the design work side, and I had David Arsano help me on the strategy side on figure out what to put on there, because Lord knows that's not my strength. So.
But that is one of the interesting things, and that'll be the last gold nugget, and then we'll go, right? Because we've been on for ages. Is the thing that I teach people, right? A lot is this. I don't know how my car works. I know it takes petrol, right, or gas, gasoline, right, or diesel in my case. I know that it needs oil and water. Outside that, if anything happens, I phone a friend, right? I phone my mechanic. And in the internet, it is very, very easy to outsource your mechanic stuff. And that's the bit thing. You can't outsource your copy, because I don't believe, no, unless you get really, really good copywriters, that's a whole different thing. But people starting out and people in smaller businesses, nobody knows your business the way you do. So like, but you know, building websites, doing all of this stuff, I don't do any of that. It's nuts. It's complete. It was Matt just said it. I think it was, don't do the small dollar work. You know, and especially when you're starting out, and especially when money is tight, that's the time not to do it, because that's the time where you're most vulnerable. It's the time where you're getting most frustrated. And the other side of it is, it's the time where you should be getting to making money faster than any other time. Right? So if you're doing all of the grunge work, like digging the trenches and placing the guns rather than going up, then you're going to get wiped out. And that's why most people, I believe, get hammered online. The people that don't succeed online, I think that's what happens. And in most businesses, be it offline, because I come from an offline business background, it's they get caught up in the busyness of the business rather than doing business.
That's a very good point, actually, because if you got people out there and they're doing the trench work, and they're not focused on the top of the hill, the vision side of it, then they're not able to see where, am I even climbing up the right mountain? Right? I mean, is this where I should even be? Did
you not notice the army that was attacking you from the front? Like, yeah. You know, the easiest one in that, I always take the analogy, and I was there, I was on the Normandy beaches last year, right? I went and visited the Normandy beaches. And it was where Hitler put the emplacements and the encampments, because he was convinced that that's where the English were going to come by, you know, and they came behind it. So the guns couldn't turn around. So you've got a small problem here, guys. You know, so if the thing about today's business is you do have to be supple and flexible, because it is changing. Like, just, you know, little things like what Facebook, the introductions that Facebook are doing, what type of social medias are working, you know, all of this stuff. It's moving. It's why I love it, because it's every day you get up to something new coming. There's a challenge. I can understand from a business perspective and somebody learning, and it's like, oh my God. And this is what I do. So I get people, come on, will you teach me how to do Facebook ads? No. What? I'll teach you how to work Facebook ads, but I won't teach you how to do it. I don't understand the difference. I'm going to teach you how to use Facebook ads to generate more business, okay? I'm not going to teach you how to put an image in and all the rest of it, because there's 75,000 videos on YouTube with people who have nothing else to do but make these videos, who are happy to teach you. Because that's what I do, because every time I get to learn it, they change it.
Yeah. That's why you get a professional person to handle your Facebook stuff, and then you stay good. You know, I was reading it was a great book. It was called The One Thing, and I think you read that. I think Matt recommended it to us, and it's one of those things where you stay focused on what you're good at. You know, what's the one thing you can do today? You know, by doing that moves your business forward. You know,
that's one thing that makes you money.
Everything else easier. You know, that's the biggest concept behind the whole thing. So Anthony, I appreciate you coming on today and sharing it. I know you've been on for a while now. I'm gonna
but you know, Daryl, when we get talking, especially
we get talking, and we haven't been drinking yet. You know, we haven't had your pints of beer yet. You still got your lunch. You still got your extra hour to go to the pub. All right, Anthony, I'm sure we'll be talking again soon.
Take care.
Thanks, boss. All right.